Hey, good morning. Happy Friday. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 1542. It is Friday. Hey, we're up we're a little earlier. We're almost to our old regular standard time. I set an alarm for the first time in probably a month. With the exception of like card show. I've got to set my alarm for the card show. Um and usually I'm awake for that type of stuff. I'll get up early. Just my body tells me, "Hey, get your ass up." But you never know. So did set my alarm. Didn't wake up though. I turned it off, and I'm like, "Fuck this! I'm not getting up this." Set for 5:30. I'm like, "What the fuck am I doing 5:30?" The reason I set it that early was because I wanted to get a head start on shipping because I want to juggle multiple tasks today. Now I have an hour and a half less because I slept till 7 and not wake up at 5:30. It would have been nice to get an hour and a half of shipping done. So I wanted to get some shipping done. I've got to tackle some Madison Card Show stuff. We're only 2 weeks away from the Madison Card Show at the Alliant Energy Center. So I've got to tackle some of that stuff today. And tomorrow is the Janesville Card Show. I'll be set up tomorrow, right inside the door in the hallway, Holiday Inn Banquet Center, right off Interstate 39, Janesville, Wisconsin. I'm blowing out bargain boxes, $25 a 4-row box. Or if you just want to cherry pick, 10 cents a card. That's tomorrow, Janesville, Wisconsin. So looking to, I still need to fill some boxes. I did a little bit of cleanup. Can you tell? Not really. Not really. You can't tell behind me. I did a little cleanup in here. And I filled almost 2 4-row boxes of stuff and there's some good stuff in these. It's like for $25, I'd buy it. But I don't need to because I have too much. That's why I'm selling it. So $25, you're gonna get some deals. Some boxes, like I was going through, I was making boxes yesterday. Using from my old inventory, my old buy it now inventory, and it's like here's a stack of 2009 Topps Total commons, because that stuff sold well to TTM. And when I mean sell well, yeah, I get a sale every once in a while, but it was steady enough that when you do 60,000 listings, it's like, yeah, you can have some inventory that's going to be a slow mover. So was going through that, and so some of the boxes going to be crappy. Some of the boxes going to be good. So you'll just have to come find out tomorrow, Janesville, Wisconsin, Holiday Inn's Banquet Center. I'll also be picking up inventory. I'll be buying more because I need more. But why am I selling stuff if I have stuff? Because I need good stuff. I don't want $1.75 stuff, $2.50 stuff. I want higher dollar stuff. So probably pick up some slabs if I can find some value slabs, although I'm some wax. So I have decided I'm going to do a wax pack weekend. Wax weekend. I don't know what I'm going to title it. Wax pack weekend. Probably wax pack weekend, although there may be a box or two. But I'm going to do, I was going through, I had another box of wax. And I want to pick some stuff up tomorrow. I want to pick some random wax for this event. Next, I'm thinking I got to check with my wife on our schedule for next weekend because I don't have any shows next weekend. So I'm thinking Saturday night, wax, 1980 Topps on open packs, 84 Topps on open packs. What else do I have? 90 Donruss. I've got an entire case of 90 Donruss rack packs. I've got a couple 89 Donruss packs. I've got still some more 2013 stuff. So what else? Some Conlon collection, some Donruss Action All-Stars, a lot of junk wax packs, but also some like 80s, 86 Topps, 84 Topps. I think there's some 85 Topps. I think there's an 80. Actually, I think I have an entire box of 84 Topps rack packs. Is that up here? '88 tops. Where did I put my wax? Oh, they're over here. So this is an unopened box of 84 tops rack packs. And I think I'm just I can do better auctioning off packs as opposed to selling a full box. I did sell a full box of 82 Donruss and 83 Fleer. I think I got like $350 a box. So this one has Mike Schmidt. Nobody on the back. So I haven't even looked through these to see who's George Brett, Robin Yount, Jim Rice, Fred Lynn, Dave Winfield, Ted Simmons, Tom Seaver, Yaz. So, not sure if there's any Mattingly rookies are not on the top. I doubt it. Because I did have one. I think there was a rack pack with a Mattingly on top, and I think those have been rearranged. So that's why I don't want to sell it as a full box. Because obviously it's opened. And I think like the good stuff has probably been cherry picked and replaced with other rack packs. So we're just going to sell them by the pack. So that's going to be next weekend. Not official yet. It was a shower thought this morning. It's like, I want to get more, I want to get stuff that I can promote, and get on eBay Core so people can see it. And I think that will generate a little bit more buzz. We did the 75 top set break last week. We did 76 football last night. And I think I could have done a better job if I would have put the Peyton in the photo with the Peyton and had the listings up so you could see. I think when I do that, I think that would be better suited to do that for a special event like a 76 tops football set break or a wax pack weekend. So actually have the listings so you can see. Would be beneficial and not the shell listings. Now, when I do a bargain box blitz, it's all about speed and the element of surprise. And so I think shell listings work great for, a random request show or a blitz type sale. But I think for a special event like a 75 set break, a 76 set break, a wax weekend, I think that's where I need to actually put those on eBay where they're visible and people can see ahead of time, like, oh, I want to mark that. The very first auction I did, I was not on team shell listing. I'm like, no, well, maybe. And this is going back to April. That I was going through the onboarding. It's like, yeah, I'm going to list all of my stuff because that's what I did. That's what I knew. Like, yeah, I've got the scanner. I'm going to list all this stuff. Boom. And so I did that for the first few auctions. Like, maybe at the National, I'll do an event where I'll utilize the shell listings. And then by like week 2, we need shell listings. And now it's like all shell listings because it's just super easy to do. So speaking of that, last night we did the 1976 Topps football set break. I knew it wasn't going to be as lucrative as the 75. The 75 set was like in great condition, mid to high grade. The 76 football, a lot of dinged corners, even a couple had small creases. So I knew that this set break was not going to go as well. It did better than I expected. The only thing that there were a couple cards early in the night that underperformed in my opinion. Like Terry Bradshaw, I think only sold for like $10. But then like Mean Joe Green sold for like 12. Something else sold for like 13, 14. So towards the end of the night, we got some people interested. And that's all it takes. One extra person, 2 extra people. That's all it takes to generate that interest, generate some bids. The Peyton ended up going for $115 and a penny. Now it was a low grade, bottom right was scuffed. There was edges were bad. Corners weren't that great. So I was hoping to get 150 to 200 out of it. And it went for 115. I think if I would have actually marketed it would have hit those numbers. If I would have, I think simply as listing it so it was viewable ahead of time, that, hey, we're going to auction off the Walter Payton, here it is. That would have helped as well. I think having the shell listing on that definitely was a disfavor. It was bad. It was a diss. So live and learn. But overall, and I had planned on doing 100 singles. There were like 10 or 12 that didn't sell, but I think 2 or 3 ended up selling on the rerun later in the night. One sold for $3, didn't sell early in the night, sold for $3 later on. And then I'm like, somebody said, did you run the Randy Gratishar? And I'm like, no. I'm like, do you want me to run it? I can. I'm like, I'm just going to put it in the lot. And I'm like, I just want to get done and put it in. But hey, if you have requests. And so we did about 12 to 15 commons by request that added $1 to $3 each to that final total. Took us down, I think, from 13, because we went from 428 card lot at the end to 415. I guess there were two. The Payton underperformed and the lot underperformed. I thought the lot would go for around $75. It did 44, I think. So that underperformed for 415 cards. That's a hell of a deal. But overall, when it was all said and done, it actually did a little better than I was expecting. I was expecting the Payton and the lot to go higher and kind of carry the whole night. But it was kind of the not really the onesie twosies, but it was the 10Z 12Zs that were carrying it, because we had towards the end of the night we had some $10 and $12 sales that I wasn't expecting. So that was nice. There were some like other stuff that sold for like $1 or $2, and I'm like, I thought that would get $3, but that's not really, because some went for $3 that I thought would go for $1. Like where's that 70s card store? Earl Morale. That was the one card that sold. It didn't sell initially. I think I reran it initially, and it didn't sell a second time, and then we ran it at the end of the night. It sold for $3. So we had fun. So possibly alive today. It'll be a pop-up blitz, kind of like what we did a couple days ago. 5-second sudden death, just bargain box blitzing. So that's what we're gonna do, possibly today. So I've got some other stuff that I want to get taken care of. So it's not a priority. Priority 1 will be some card show stuff. Priority 2, shipping. And then if I have in priority 3, the card show prep for tomorrow. And then if all goes well, I'll sneak in. It would probably be around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock this afternoon to do any eBay live. But I'd like to sneak in for a couple hours just to get something in. Cooter says, if you would have held the Payton till the end, I think it would have went higher. Oh, most definitely. I think with any of the cards, look at Earl Morale. Didn't sell early on. It sold for $3 at the end. There were a lot of cards at the end that sold, but sometimes you don't know. And so my initial thoughts, and this was something that I went back and forth on, in terms of when to run the Payton. I wanted people to know when it was going to be. Now you can say I'm holding the Payton until the end, and that would have worked, and it probably would have held people in the room longer. One of the metrics they look at is length, average time spent in the room. And so that could have worked. But I also like the idea of going in numerical order. Unfortunately, the Payton's in the first 150 cards, card number 148. So I think that was a disservice for me. So live and learn. When I do other set, it worked. The 75 set break worked well because we had a nice mix of cards throughout the set. the Yount and Brett were kind of toward in the front, like they're in the 200s. I can't remember what numbers they are in the late 200s, almost to the 300 mark, I think. But then at the end, you have all those rookies, and in 75 had Jim Rice, Gary Carter, Keith Hernandez. So those were at the end. So you had a nice balance in the 75. The 76 football set, there was a little bit of a balance, but obviously the Walter Payton really tips it. And there was some front-loaded stuff as well. I don't plan on doing. I've got to find my set. I have a 77 baseball. I don't know where I put it. See, that's when you have too many cards. You got complete sets from the 70s. You don't even know where they're at. And it's a high grade set. So that might be something. And maybe I will do it a little bit differently. Maybe I will do, if it is a high grade set, I'll have to look through it. If it is a high grade set, I will do pictures and promote it and promote it better to where they're not shell listings. Sunflower says, I liked how efficient the one set idea is. Definitely adds variety to your streams. Variety sells. Thank you. And yeah, it is nice to have, because why do the request shows do well? Because it's variety and people get what they want. You don't have to wait around for the Walter Payton rookie. Well, I've got to wait till the end. And then you forget, did you run the Payton already? Well, you just missed it. So in the event of a request, it's like, well, do you have a Ken Griffey Jr. rookie? Well, yeah, here, I've got a Bowman. That's all I have, but here's a Bowman rookie. And you can run it right now, and somebody only wants a Ken Griffey Jr. rookie. They come in, here's the Ken Griffey Jr. rookie, and then they can leave. I don't want that, but we're all about the buyer. So whatever the buyer wants. So yeah, I like the variety. Like it's something different. So I'm not pinholing myself to only request shows, only wax weekends, only vintage, only modern, only slabs, a little bit of variety. And so just kind of a learning process for me as well. But yeah, I think some of these special events are going to work and try to do something at least on a once a week basis. And I think I've kind of picked Thursday nights to do vintage. And so next Thursday, maybe we do a vintage only show. And I think I've got enough vintage to carry a show. Maybe I'll focus on picking some higher end stuff up tomorrow at the card show to put on a Thursday night. So I don't think I'll do the set break because I've got to find the set first for Thursday, but maybe we do a tailored vintage show and I'll put, over the weekend or early next week, I'll get those loaded into eBay so you can see what will be up for auction for our vintage night. Peter says, I cheated on you and watched a different eBay live last night. Peter, how could you? Couldn't believe what I saw. 83 tops Nolan Ryan, $77. Oh my God. 80 tops Ozzie Smith, $36. 72 tops Joe Morgan, 204 or 2000 tops Brett, 83 tops Brett, 34. Oh my God. Yeah, that's wild. I thought my 83 tops Robin Yount for $9 was wild. Sunflower says, I previewed the set checklist. 76 football admittedly fell pretty low on my interest scale, but I had an interest in some PC related items, Chiefs and Kansas players that I targeted and did not win. Yeah, it was kind of a, I had high when I thought of the idea, I had high expectations because of past experience with especially Pittsburgh Steelers. We didn't have our Pittsburgh Steelers people in the room last night, which was very evident because I've sold 83 tops Terry Bradshaw's or 81 tops Terry Bradshaw's for excess of $20-$30, and a 76 goes for 10. Towards the end of the night, Mean Joe Green, Jack Lambert, Jack Ham, I think they all went in double digits, which was good. But I didn't see the crazy numbers that I've seen, like Peter mentioned in a different eBay live last night. So will be interesting to see moving forward on what some of the other stuff does. Where are we at? Unicorn says, I have an 84 OPC set for sale and half a dozen 83, 84 tops and OPC slabs, all PSA or 8 or better. Ripken, Bog, Sandberg, Carlton, if you're interested. Potentially, if the price is right. Here's the thing with slabs, and I had somebody reach out yesterday with slabs, and they were good slabs. Reached out to me on Facebook Messenger and sent me the spreadsheet, and I'm still kind of going over the spreadsheet. It's not the numbers work, but I don't know if they'll work for me on eBay Live. He's got an 86 tops Jerry Rice SGC 7.5 rookie. He's got the comps, and I've got to check some of the comps on these higher end stuff. He's got the comp at $140. I did check the comp on another, and he was right on the mark. And then he's got his 70%, 75% numbers. So if he wants 70%, it's $98. And I don't think a Jerry Rice SGC 7.5 on eBay Live. I think in my live, I think that might only go for $50 or $60. In 89 score, Barry Sanders SGC 9. He's got the comp at 126. He's got the 70% value at $88. Again, I think that might hit 50, 60. That's what I'm seeing in my eBay lives with slabs like this. They come in under comps. Now, there's lower end stuff he has in here, like an 87 tops Walter Payton, SGC 9. He's got the comp at 33, the 70% value at 23. I think that's something I could get $40 or $50 for. Jaden Daniels, 2024 score NFL draft, SGC 10. He's got $30 on the comp, 21 on the 70% value. That's something I think I could get $50 for. So I've got to go through and do kind of my eBay live comps. And it's like, what can I do? And maybe I can buy the lot and get it less than 70%. And then, I'm probably going to, there's some of these slabs I would lose money on. Absolutely. But then there's some of these low to mid-range slabs that I can make money on. The Jaden Daniels, the Bo Nix, Brock Bowers. There's an 87 Fleer SGC 8 Nolan Ryan. He's got $12 as the comp, $8, $8.40 is the 70% mark. And, that's something I think could go for $20, maybe 15. And then there's other stuff. There's a 93 Skybox Premium Dynamic Dunks Jordan. It's in a Beckett 8.5. He's got the comp at 131, the 70% at 92. That's something that it's like, I'm not going to get $92 for that. That's probably going to be like a $50 sale. So I've just got to go through, and I think his numbers, Cooter says never trust anyone who uses a spreadsheet for cards. I think there's definitely value in there. And I think I could probably get it less than 70% if I'll buy everything. If I could get everything at 50%, I feel more comfortable. So we'll see. So I'm gonna look a little bit over, because maybe even at 50%, I can't do anything with it. Some of those higher end stuff, even at 50%, I think I might fall short. So that's an example, Kevin, of where I'm looking to buy. It's really tough for me to buy slabs because of what early on. If this were 2 months ago, like in early June, when I bought a bunch of slabs from my dealer, Mark, I killed it on those slabs. If I bought those same slabs today at those prices, I would get crushed because the market has shifted. I don't know if it's the eBay Live buyers or if it's just the market in general. I don't know. So I've got to be careful with what I buy. And again, like I mentioned the other day, I don't want to overbuy. Like, oh, I'm going to buy all these slabs. Like I was buying slabs from, I don't know if I ever said this before out loud, but I was sourcing a lot of my slabs from eBay, from PSA's Buy It Now section, which they even had Buy It Now or Best Offer. I wasn't even sending offers. I'm just like, screw it. I'm going to buy. And I bought thousands of dollars in slabs from PSA, not thousands, maybe 2,000. So it's not like I spent 10,000 on slabs. I spent probably 2,000 on slabs from PSA, and I made a killing on most of them. Yeah, I probably lost a little bit on a few slabs, but I did really well. And then the last batch didn't go as well as the first two. I think I bought 3 batches. And so now I've got a cart, and it's like, I think I'm just going to empty my cart because I've got to be strategic with what I buy. And not everything was selling for, it's not like, when I got the $5 slabs from 5 Star, they ended up being mostly all Topps base rookies. These are selling for like $2. And now I didn't pay $5 a slab for those. It was a trade out. And I think the trade out value was like $2. So some of them I made a little bit of money on. But overall, it's like I'm gonna have that box for a while. Maybe I'll just take it to the Janesville show tomorrow, $5 a slab. So I've just got to be careful. Peter says, no, sorry, Joe Morgan was $2.04, just $2. 84 Mattingly was 56 with $5 shipping. I can believe the 84 Mattingly for 56. And that's the crazy thing. Well, was that a 72? What was the Joe Morgan? 72 Topps, Joe Morgan, $2. But in 83 Topps, Nolan Ryan, $77. Like, it's just, I don't get it. I don't get it. NYC Life says, morning, I heard you're doing eBay Live. Take a drink. How has that been working out? Amazing. Been thinking about doing it, but just haven't tried it yet. So it's not open. It's not open yet. Right now they're only picking sellers to sell. But they are opening it up to more and more. I don't know if I mentioned this yesterday, but when I was starting, my first eBay Lives were back in April. And there were usually about 5 sports card auctions per day, 4 to 5, sometimes 6. Yesterday, there were 26. I'm curious how many there are because today is Friday, which is another thing. I do want to check this just in case it will give me an idea of, should I go live today? If there's only 5 today, yeah, I'm going to take advantage. So right now there's not a way. There may still be an application process, but they're not looking at those. But they will be. It's still in beta. Obviously, they are growing it. Like I mentioned, April 5 a day, now 26 a day. So today we've got Primetime, PCB, ComC. This is a new one I haven't seen before. LMS box breaks. ANZ Comics, they've been on for a while. ComC's going again at 5. Toy Cabal's at 6. Crave Collect is at 6:15. My guy Steve, Sports Card Grading, is on at 7. Primetime is back on at 7. Did they have an earlier? Yeah, they have one going on at 10. So that's it. That's it. So there's only 10 today. So I'm gonna sneak in. I'm gonna sneak in at 1 o'clock today because Primetime and PCB start at 10. ComC starts at 11, and then LMS breaks is at 3, and then ANZ starts at 4. So I'm going to go 1 to 3, 1 to 4 this afternoon. So I'm going to get that scheduled here shortly. So that's going to be priority number 1. So I am going to go live today. So yeah, I would say right now they're looking at, and I think to start, I don't know when it will be opened up to, right now they want trusted sellers, which thank God, they're not going to do a whatnot where they just open it up to just anybody and everybody. So they definitely want, I would imagine the metrics on how they accept sellers on the live platform on eBay it's a moving target. It'll be adjusted over time. Right now there's X amount. You've got to have selling experience, live selling experience, which I know it's a double-edged sword. So there was an eBay Live on eBay Open yesterday, which was the only one I watched. And it was decent. Again, it's basically just kind of fluff. eBay Open is a lot of just fluff. There's not much that comes out of it, but it's still interesting to hear other sellers' takes. And so there was a lot of, people in the chat. Oh, how come they're talking about this? Nobody can do this yet. Blah, 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 blah. But that's good. And they're like, well, they're telling sellers that want to be on the live platform to go on a competitor website to start, which is, it's smart. And yeah, it's it's calculated, and it could go the wrong way for you. Maybe somebody that wants to start on eBay Live, they're like, well, I need experience. I'm going to go to Whatnot. And all of a sudden they go to Whatnot. They're like, well, screw eBay Live. I love Whatnot. That absolutely can happen. But I think it's smart because they're not just accepting just anybody that doesn't have any live selling experience to go on eBay Live. They don't want that presentation right now. Now, maybe in 3 years that changes. Maybe in a year that changes. Maybe in 10 years that changes. But I like the way they're going about it. Yes, I like it. Part of that is because I am selling on the platform. If I wasn't selling on the platform, I'd probably be upset too. So I get both sides of it. But from the business aspect, I totally understand why they're doing it the way they are doing it. Where are we at? All right, I'm going to go to the top of the chat because I don't want to ignore Todd. What's going on? We don't want to ignore Todd. We don't want to ignore Andy Mack. School is back. Thumbs down. Ugh. The smell is in the air. Every season has a smell in the air. I miss the corn sweat smell. Man, I miss that corn sweat. The corn is done sweating. We're back to school. Gem City says, good morning. When can we get the 1 Million Cubs Project repack? I think there's some opportunity here. No. You get Cubs for kids at spring training. Jody, what's going on? Good morning. Gem City says, on Wax Weekend, will you rip and ship? Possibly. We'll see. It depends on how I'm feeling. Sometimes I just want to blow through, and it's like I don't want to waste time ripping a pack of 1990 Donruss. But we'll see. If a 1990 Donruss pack sells for $20, I'll rip and ship. If it sells for $1, I'm not wasting any more time. How about that? If it only sells for $1, sorry, I'm not going to rip and ship this one. Cody, what's going on? Good morning. We are up early today. Zach, what's going on? You probably want to get those packs graded before selling. You could. I thought about some of the boxes. I thought about getting them wrapped, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to list them, and if they don't sell for the price I want, I'll get them wrapped. They sold for the price I wanted, so I'm good to go. Zach says, if not graded, at least authenticated. Those packs are over 40 years old. The 1990 Donruss vintage is 35 years old. Educated buyers on live will want to protect their investment. Shell listings are killing comps. They are. They are. TD Sports Cards, good morning, you armchair quarterbacks. Happy Friday, Peter. What's up, Dan? Found treasures in the house. Cooter says that we talked about that. Zach says eBay Live is a legal drug. Where we at? Gem City says the repack is a no. That is correct. But hey, you never know. Zach says NFL feels like the perfect sport to cash in on shortly after a big performance. I imagine you have items ready for week 1 and beyond, rookies, Bowman, etc. I have. I'm going to do a football. I'm going to do a football as we get closer to opening weekend or opening week. I still have all of my 80 sets and I think a 79 set. In fact, maybe I'll do the 79 set break for football on Thursday night. I think I have a 79 set still that I haven't ripped into yet. So the 76 set I auctioned off last night was part of a complete set run that I bought right before the National from one of my dealers. It had in the past tense, because I sold it last night, the 76 set, and then also 79 through 89 tops. So I have not, I think, did I pull? One of the sets I might have started pulling, but as we get closer to football season, we'll do like an 80s football night. And that's something that I'll probably put in. It won't be shell listings. I'll have it curated. We'll run the Marino rookie. We'll run the Elway rookie. We'll run the Montana rookie. We'll run the Bo Jackson rookie. Hell, we might even run the Brian Bosworth rookie. We'll run the, who else? Jerry Rice rookie at 86. I haven't even opened the boxes to see what type of condition they are. I have a hint they're going to be mid-grade. I think they're going to be mid-grade. I don't think they're going to be high-grade sets. Maybe the later stuff is, but it might have been 87 I was looking at, and I was like, these are kind of, for 87, I was expecting a little better condition, but it's on me for not looking. It was a blind. I knew what I was getting as far as the cards, but I looked at the Peyton. I looked at the 76. But some of the 87 set I think I opened up. It's like, this is all right. Let's see. Unicorn Cupcake says no, that is not enough margin. Cooter says never trust anyone who uses a spreadsheet for cards. With Unicorn Cupcake laughs. Zach says, remember when that autograph story was the biggest thing in the hobby? Does anyone even remember that from way back to a month ago? Oh yeah, the autograph. Yeah. It's the hobby, man. It's the hobby. I think part of the reason that has died down, which I am surprised, it's like crickets. It is real crickets on that front, which is surprising based on how big that story was and how big it could be for the autograph industry. I'm surprised there hasn't been more to it. And I think part of it is the guy is dead. He offed himself. So that always has a little bit to do with, when the perpetrator is no longer alive, stories tend to die with them. Cooter says, what's he say? As I have always said, you make your money on the buy side. Absolutely. Mike says $1 billion fraud and no one blinks. Welcome to the baseball card hobby. Shane wants to know who that seller was. I'm fascinated by all of this. Gem City says, are repack buyers ever an issue at the Madison Card Show? What type of issue? I mean, I don't have any issues with repack buyers. Are there repack buyers at the Madison Card Show? Hell yeah. Or maybe it's not the actual repack, but it's people that are buying for repacks. I would say most of the buyers at the Madison Card Show are are whatnot sellers. Those that are buying. I mean, we have a ton of dealers that are just there to buy. And that's been something that's just been taking over card shows everywhere. Repacks, not so much. I had a couple dealers talk about it. It's been about a year ago, where, they were buying, I had, a couple bigger dealers were complaining about, and not complaining to me, just complaining in general about repackers and how they're paying 90 to 100%. And it's like, we're trying to be at 70 to 80%. And we can't compete with the repackers. But no, I don't have any issues. Zach says repacks are big business at yard and garage sales in the Madison area. John Keating propped up the market for a long time, but retired. Unicorn says, I love the Madison Card Show, but the people with the wheels and shit kind of bothers me because it's mostly kids doing it. I'm sure the vendor is a good guy, but it irks me. That's every card show. That's every card show. You just got to deal with it. Mike Petty's in the house. What's up? I have 60 cards for sale going to 4 square corners. John Keating is a big mystery pack seller, but I'm the best breaker. Mike Petty hits those downtownies and those kaboomies. Mike says, can't see cards on live shows. Why would anyone buy? Are they that desperate to get a deal? 608 says, will eBay ever show up at the Madison Card Show? I'm hoping next year. They've got their schedule for the rest of this year. So once I get, and this is part of what I need to get done here over the next week, I want to get at least the Alliant scheduled for 2026, or at least get some dates. And then I want to reach out to my contacts at eBay and PSA. Here's the dates. PSA has already expressed interest in returning first quarter. And hopefully we can get on the eBay live schedule for next year as well. So I want to get that stuff scheduled, and at least get available dates that can work for. Ideally, I'd love it to work for all of the parties, and then maybe reach out to some others, and maybe have it a 2-day show. So that's something like a big 2-day show. So that's something that we could work out, and maybe we rent out the big area. I'll see. Unicorn Cupcake says, I've got a couple decent deals on 4 sharp corners on eBay, but a lot of their stuff goes for more than it's worth. NYC Live says, with the eBay Live thing, they sent me a thing to fill out like a few months ago to apply. I just never filled it out and never replied, but thinking about one would do it per weekend when I'm off work. Yeah, absolutely apply. And I don't know what their process is. I do know, and it probably states in the application process what the different metrics are that they're applying. But apply. I mean, just do it. Just apply, and at least you'll have your name in the pile of applications, and at least that gives you a head up over anybody that hasn't applied. Mike Petty says, good to hear, Unicorn. I want all my stuff to sell for more than it's worth. Amen to that. Amen to that. PSA will be at an Oconomowoc show. What the hell? I think that's a drop-off, one of their live card show events. So they do that. They do that at Card Shop. Is it the show or the shop? Or is the show at the shop? I'm assuming it's Lake Country. Yeah, because they do. I know they do some shops in the Chicago area. Unicorn says, well, once you sell it, it is worth that amount, I suppose. The 5 O's. Mike says, I'm all in on Brock, not so Purdy. Zach's waiting for Deshaun Watson to blow it up this season so I can offload my Prism collection to help offset my Wander Franco investments. There you go. Smart. He does have a Purdy face. Donnie, what's going on? He says, maybe we need a Gem City repack at the Quincy show. There you go. Gem City repacks. I like the sound of that. Mike's selling all my vintage and buying Kaboomies, digital mystery packs. Unicorn says, blockchain digital cards are the future. Trust me, I have years of experience in snake oil sales. Gem City says, I'm not pro or anti-repack, but the one thing I do believe is that if you don't know the checklist or your odds, it's a scam. So I'm mixed on this. And I think, was this in Sports Card Nonsense podcast this week where they were talking about, I think it was with Danny Black, the Danny Black show, with Mike and Joe. Remember Mike and Joe, the band? Do they still tour? They were like a Dave Matthews cover band, I think. Mike and Joe. They were like a college band. Mike and Joe. Mike and Joe and Danny Black's podcast. They were talking about repacks. And I agree and I disagree. If it's and I completely agree with what the guys were saying on the show, that if it's a high-end repack, absolutely there should be a checklist. Otherwise, it's snake oil. If it's a $10 repack, if you're selling at a garage sale, a repack at a garage sale for $5 or $10, there doesn't have to be. You're getting, so here's a story about repacks, and this is low-end repacks. So one of the guys that I buy from locally, he was selling repacks. He was selling them on eBay for like $12 free shipping. And then he would sell them at his garage sale for like $5 or something. And so he had like 50 of them left. And I bought like 2 boxes. He had a whole bunch of like commons, and I'm like, I don't want the commons. So I bought like a shoe box and like a couple other things. And he's like, well, do you want the repacks? And I'll do like $2 a bag. They were in brown sandwich bags. And I'm like, I don't really want the repacks. And he's like, $2. He's like, there's an auto in every one. And I'm like, well, I can get on eBay Live. I can get $2 an auto. I'm like, okay, yeah, throw them in. That was by far the best deal of everything that I bought that day. Because there were Cal Rowley rookies. There were Pete Crow Armstrong rookies. There were Nick Kurt. I think there was a couple Nick Kurtz and Jacob Wilsons back when Jacob Wilson was selling better. So I crushed it on that stuff. There were 10 card lots I was putting together from those repacks that were selling for $50. And then the autos were like the shit. Like I was selling them for $2. But the base stuff I was moving for awesome money. And I made by far better money on the repacks. So, and I'm like, for $12, like these people are getting great deals. Now, I was also selling on eBay Live, not static eBay where I wasn't going to get $50 for those 10 cards. I wasn't going to get $15 for a Cal Raleigh rookie. But still, if you bought it on eBay for $12 and you got a Cal Raleigh rookie, an autograph, and some other stuff, like, you definitely got $12 worth of cards. So in that vein, those types of repacks don't need checklists. If you're selling 20 cards for $1 at a garage sale, a mystery pack, you don't need a checklist. You're getting cards for a nickel a piece. And I think you probably agree with that take. But I say if it's just a $10 repack, I don't know where that line is. When does it need a checklist? I definitely say $100 and up, it needs a checklist. But if it's $20, I don't know, $50 is kind of getting into that gray area. Like, well, what's in it for $50? I don't know. Peter says, Shane, it was baseball card exchange. No wonder I didn't have that many people in the room. They were all on BBCE. Holy moly. Mike says, what do you do for a living? I'm a repack buyer. Shane says, the sticky note brigade aren't a problem if they're spending $10K at your table. Absolutely. Absolutely. Bradley, what's going on? Excited for my first Oshkosh show Sunday. Still got to get to Madison, maybe this fall. Well, hey, 2 weeks away, August 30th, Madison Card Show, Alliant Energy Center, 250 tables. Cooter says, the industry part of the hobby wants the story to die so they can get back to selling autographed memorabilia they know are fake. Yeah, ain't that the truth? Unicorn says, Wisconsin has a law that allows companies to produce milk caps with an in-game promotion in which you can win money, a.k.a. pull tabs, but they have to keep strict records of the batches to submit to the state. Oh, yeah. The old pull tabs. Max says, most of your bigger dealers at shows, including Madison, sell to repackers. They bleed the local shows and take the stuff to the bigger shows and make 5 to 10%. Yeah, and that's what it is. But when you're doing $100,000 and making 10% margin on a weekly basis, pretty good. Gem City says, coming soon, Gem City repacks, Floor, Wander Franco, top hit OJ Simpson, only scoundrels. I like it. Repack should be held to a similar standard. Bargain Boxers in the house. Thought I would stop by really quick and say hi since the shows only last about 5 minutes these days. Hey, we're at 48 minutes right now. You watch your tongue. Max says, why is everyone in the hobby now resorted to having something wrong with people that swim in pools they don't? Isn't that always been that way? I think it's always been that way. Modern people, oh, you're just an old white hair vintage guy. And then the vintage guy, well, you're just a stupid millennial. Oh, you're dumb Pokemon. Oh, sports suck. Everybody hates everything. That's the hobby. It's always been like this. Who swims in pools? Gem City says, Geo has said for years on high-end checklist or forget about it. Bargain Boxer says, take a poll. I'm anti-repack. I'm in the middle. I'm not pro repack. I'm not anti repack. I'm just kind of like what Geo said in the show this week. Spend your money how you want to spend it. Like, I don't give a fuck how you spend your money. If Bargain Boxer wants to get steals and deals for $1 or $5, do it. If you want to spend $1,000 on a Kaboomy, do it. I don't give a shit. If you want to spend $77 on an 83 Topps Nolan Ryan, go for it. I'd rather you buy it from me. but hey, like, you shouldn't spend $77 on an 83 Topps Nolan Ryan. But if you want to, nobody's stopping you but yourself. So I don't give a shit about repacks. I don't buy them. I don't sell them. I don't really care about them. I'm in the middle. Zach says, eBay Live shell listings are the repacks of the online world. Well, hey, there you go. Unicorn says, when I had a card store, I would sell 300 count boxes with a star and a top loader on the front and sell them for $3.95. Sold like crazy. This was 1995. You were selling repacks. There you go. Bargain Boxer says, Unicorn had a store in 1995. That's what we should be talking about. 1995, yeah. Gem City says we could add Pete Rose to the repack too. There you go. Unicorn says, I was 16 at the time. Once I found girls, it was over by 97. Shane says, Max, that's never going to change. I agree. I don't think it has. Never heard people talk bad about others before shows became mainstream. Gonzaga in Milwaukee was the best monthly show in the Midwest, hands down. Yeah, I never went to that show. Johnny M says, good morning. There's a sucker born every minute and 1,000 sellers to take advantage of them. Absolutely. I mean, if somebody wants, like, it's an auction. Sellers aren't taking, I mean, I guess we are taking advantage. But it's like, hey, you don't, like, I'm not forcing you to spend $77 for a Nolan Ryan 1983 tops. Nobody is. Only you. Only the buyer is. Max says, I think people that care about others' businesses are just sad they lead a boring life that they need to try to live someone else's. You nailed it. That's exactly what it is. It's just jealousy. For the most part, I think people that bitch about others, like Jeff Wilson, people hate Jeff Wilson. It's mostly out of jealousy that they're not living Jeff Wilson's life. He's living a pretty good life. It all works in unison, whether you want to believe it or not. That dude from Duryea graduated in 1995. Max says that was before you were in cards or cared about them outside of eBay. Oh, I was in cards. When did Gonzaga end? Because I was setting up at shows. I think the first show I set up at, outside of like my childhood in the 90s, before you were born, Max, was probably, what year was it? 05, 06? Of course, I wasn't in Wisconsin. I didn't move to Wisconsin until 2000. When did I move to Wisconsin? 2014. I did a Peoria show. I didn't do many shows. I didn't do card shows that often. I went to a few Madison card, the Clarion shows. I don't want to call it the Madison Card Show because that's my show. I went to a few Clarion shows, the previous card show that was held in Madison. And that was definitely I actually set up at that show pre-COVID. Actually, it was the last show before COVID. I set up in February of 2020 at the Clarion show. Didn't even make my table money back. It was because it was the excuse was the Daytona 500 was that day. That was the excuse. That was the excuse that we had a poor turnout. The fucking Daytona 500, and that's what really started. Maybe we need another card show in this town. This one's not getting promoted very well. So, yeah, but I mean, Gonzaga was that Milwaukee or was that the Madison? Because there were two Madison card shows up until COVID. There was the Clarion, and then there was another show. Peter says, with automatic payments, eBay is forcing people to buy 83 tops Nolan Ryans, right? We're forcing you. Gem City says, I don't want your life, Dad. I don't want your life, Dad. Johnny says, my comment was meant for repack buyers, not buyers willing to overpay when they see what it is they are buying. Mike says, I hate Jeff Wilson and I could buy and sell him. Hardly jealous. So then I'm curious, why do you hate Jeff Wilson? Have you met Jeff Wilson? He's actually a very nice fella. Clarion, high class. Max says, when that show was at the Crown Plaza on the east side, it was great. The Labor Temple, that's what I was thinking of. The Labor Temple was also solid, but I was perfectly fine with 25 to 30 table shows. That dude says that was when the card hiatus started during those 90s years. Gonzaga was Milwaukee. Bargain Boxer says, same as Mike, not jealous of Jeff. I don't like how he is leading so many people how to lose money in cards. Zach says, I remember the Bolero show when I was a kid. Got dropped off. Amazing time. Bolero. Let's see. Unicorn says, I don't like him tricking the kids. How is he tricking the kids? Like, how is he tricking the kids? Red Light, good morning. Nice fellows can scam too. But how is he scamming? Like, tell me. Like everybody just talks out their ass about Jeff Wilson. I hate Jeff Wilson because he's a scammer. How is he a scammer? Please tell me. Zach, why am I defending Jeff Wilson? He's a nice fella, but why am I defending him? Why do I care how you feel? Maybe that should be the question. Why does Bo care how you feel about somebody he barely knows? So I don't care anymore. I don't care why you hate him. Zach says the dealer handed out bars of soap to dealers. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine doing that? Hilarious. Bradley says people hate Jeff Wilson because he does not know sports. He tries to influence collectors to buy Desmond Ridder and Lonzo Ball. Max says you would not be able to buy and sell him. LOL. Cards are a sliver of his net worth. Yeah, he's a big real estate dude. Really, he's got money in real estate. Something. He's got money in something. Jeff is a good dude. Same with CC2 and Gary V. Those guys are a huge reason why your cardboard is worth anything. That's the harsh reality for those that don't like Jeff Wilson. He's propping up the market, and the more guys that we have like Jeff Wilson and Card Collector 2 and Gary V, that's why your cards 10, 15 years ago, the white hairs, we need kids in this hobby because the hobby baseball cards are going to die. Well, now kids are in the hobby, but we don't want those kids because now they're just carrying around backpacks and Zion cases. And that's not the collector we want. We want them carrying around notebooks collecting 1975 top sets. Where are we at? All right. Bargain Boxer says, I was told that Jeff Wilson is opposite from who he is off camera. Well, I've met him a couple times off camera, and he was like one of the nicest people I've ever met in the hobby. And that was off. No cameras were rolling. So now you've been told two things. Now you've been told that he's a great guy and he's the opposite. Unicorn says misleading the kids, pretending he has knowledge about certain things when he clearly doesn't. That dude says, I don't know any of you and I listen almost every day. Shane says, careful, Bo, you're going to turn this into the SCR live chat and be stuck here for 2 hours. Jeff is a pumper and dumper. He is an employee. Unicorn's just a hater. There you go. You're a hater. TBB, you would unfortunately classify every influencer under those words. That's very true. Every person that posts shit on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, you are a pumper and a dumper. Absolutely. Absolutely. Every person that is creating content, and you can say you're not a content creator, but if you're tweeting about baseball cards, you're creating content about cards, and you are pumping stuff. And it could be as innocent as, hey, look at this cool Dave Giesel. Oh, we can't use him and name that player now. Look at this cool. I'm trying to find a common guy. Dave Giesel. Like, oh, wow, he's got funny hair in that photo. I want that card. And now all of a sudden people want Dave Giesel cards. Aaron Hernandez added to the repack. Who else do we need? Ray Caruth. Max says, I think a portion of our hobby, older cough, should just stay off YouTube if they don't like it. Bargain Boxer says, Max, most are, but there are a few that aren't propped up by sponsors. Zach says, isn't he nice on camera too? He is. Shane says, quote, I was told is never a good way to start any comment. That's also very true. There you go. There's Ray Caruth. Rich says, you know who has a lot of respect for Jeff Wilson? Dr. James Beckett. And to me, that's good enough. Absolutely. There you go. Max says, yes, the voice of reason from Dallas. Johnny M says, I take anything anyone says with a grain of salt. That's probably smart. That might be the best comment of the day. Klein is here. Now we can get to know what to think. Bars of soap. Bars of soap. Gem City says, watch what you say. I'm definitely a dumper, but not old enough to need a pumper. Thank you kindly. Unicorn says, I always go back to this, that Ted Bundy was a charming guy. He would never do anything to wrong you or hurt you in any way. So now you're comparing Jeff Wilson to Ted Bundy? That's a That's kind of a stretch. That's a reach. Bargain Boxer says, Mike's Retro Cards is not pumping anything. Check them out and prove me wrong. I watch them every week, and they are absolutely pumping stuff. I am pumping stuff. You are pumping stuff if you're putting content out there. Everybody is pumping stuff. Everybody is a pumper and a dumper. Everybody. Whether they mean to or not. I'm not saying everybody is out to do it on purpose, but if you're creating content and talking about certain things, you are pumping it. Maybe you're not dumping it, but you are certainly pumping. You are pumping. Absolutely pumping. Pumping, pumping, pumping. Everybody is pumping. Everybody. Max says, me too, Johnny. Ever since I was told Meet the Parents was a great movie and I wasted 2 hours. I thought it was a funny movie. Gem City says, almost forgot the Menendez brothers. Sorry, Mark Jackson. There you go. Max says, someone telling you they are buying a player doesn't mean you should go out and buy them. It doesn't, but people are sheep. And that's why you're pumping. That's why people that are putting stuff out there are pumping. Whether they mean to or not. It's not like they're going out. Now, some people are explicitly posting stuff to pump. Some are just pumping it because they think it's a cool card. They don't mean to pump it. I've seen where something gets a lot of traction on Twitter. It's a card. Somebody posts about Dick Pole. All of a sudden, it's like, wow, that had 1 million views. And all of a sudden, guess what? I sell 7 Dick Pole cards out of my eBay store. I'm sure there's a correlation. And to them, it was just a funny car, a funny name. But it was a pump. People wanted Dick Pole. Cody says, I've met Jeff. He was very nice to me and my girlfriend. Had a great chat. See, there you go. But hey, Ted Bundy was a nice fella too. Gem City says, guys, Jeff Wilson is like Bud Light. You might like to drink it sometimes, especially when you learn how to drink beer, but that does not mean it's the best beer. People will argue about beer brands too. I like Bud Light. Bradley says, maybe it's not Jeff Wilson I don't like, but maybe his entitled kid. I don't know the entitled kid. Every content creator is pumping stuff. Stop it. Yeah, every content creator is pumping stuff, whether they mean to or not. As simply as a post about a funny card because somebody is out there like, oh, hey, that's a funny card. I'm going to go buy that. It's being an influencer. Your neighbor is an influencer. Everybody is an influencer of something. Your neighbor talking about the new laundry detergent she's using. Old Helen next door. She's influencing you. Everybody is an influencer. Gem City says, easy, kids be kids. Rich says, oh, hi there. By the way, good morning to you all. And like, sub, and come back for more Jeff Wilson talk. We've struck a nerve this morning with Jeff Wilson. Max says, if you talk positively about something you are selling, you can classify that as pumping. Yes, 100%. You are influencing and pumping, whether you know it or not. Bo is pumping the Hobby Bias Tops Living market. It's so transparent. No, I'm not, because I haven't said anything about it. You're pumping it now. Now people see that and they're like, oh, I didn't know Hobby Bias had a Tops Living card. I need to go buy it. Unicorn says, I hate kids and I'm defending them against Jeff Wilson. Good Lord. Johnny M says, is it strange that I don't even know who Jeff Wilson is and I've been in the hobby for 45 years? Actually, it is a little strange that you don't know who Jeff Wilson is. Rich Klein says, there was an old-time player named Dick Felt. Just saying. Dick Harder was the Hornets coach. Who else was a Dick? There were a lot of Dicks in the 70s. Unicorn says, take that as a good thing. Dat Dude says, I heard 1991 Chipper Jones getting pumped right here just 2 months ago. You goddamn better believe I was pumping 91 Upper Deck Chipper Jones that were selling for $20 on eBay Live. Fuck yes, I was. Fuck yes, I was. Goddamn right I was. Max says, how about Jeff is an Atlanta local and Falcons fan and wanted Ritter to play well, not to mention he was given a starting role. Does this then mean I can't talk good about Jordan Love? You can. Absolutely you can. Gem City says, you think Jeff and the like are bad? Go watch some Pokemon influencers. Rich says, Frank was a major influencer. He tried his damnedest to get me on the robot lawnmower bandwagon. Oh, Frank. Oh, it looks like you need to mow your lawn. Well, guess what, Frank? I got Olson Toon here every week mowing my fucking lawn now. Fuck it, Frank. Max says, Jem, the big dogs in Pokemon are insufferable, LOL. I unfollowed years ago. Unicorn says, people who want things from you will use dishonest tactics is what I meant from the Bundy comment. George, good morning. Zach says, I'm pumping my Ron Karkovice collection. Watch out. Pump it, baby. Pump it. Gem City says, Max, Danny Fantump is in Wisconsin, I believe. Tricky Dick Nixon, speaking of the 70s. There you go. Danny is one of the few that I can actually handle. Just need him to slow down. Who else was a dick? That dude says, the market on those chippers will be up this weekend with all this talk about them. Yep, we're pumping Chipper Jones. Buy Chipper Jones rookies or sell them. Buy them to sell them. Bars of women's tennis player Zuzu Wang, pronounced Shi-Yu Wang. So, Dick Pole. We're pumping Dick Pole this morning. Dick Van Arsdale. There was another Dick in football. Who was the other Dick in football? Dick Lines. We're pumping Dicks today. Dick Trickle. The king of Dicks. Mr. Trickle. What's up, Brian? You're missing all the Dick talk. There's Dick Butkus. Dick Hall. Peter says you have to pump the digital card market. Dick Night Train Lane. Who was the other Dick? Who was the Dick? Maybe it was Dick Felt. Fair Hooker. I like Fair Hooker. Red Light says, do you still have any 1975 or 1977 Topps baseball? Well, 75, we sold the whole set last week. 70, I have a complete set of 77. But we'll probably, once I find it, I'll probably do a set break on that. Max says, from Wisconsin Rapids, Dick Vermeil. Dick Klein, a dealer from Texas. All right, let's play Name That Player. It is Friday. How about Bargain Boxer? We're over an hour. Suck it, Bargain Boxer. Max says, Puffer Bong, still undefeated in the card name game. I agree. All right. So I'm not doing a pack. I thought about doing a junk wax pack, but we've been doing that the last couple of weeks. So I had a box of 84 Donruss opened. So I grabbed 13, but Dave Giesel was one of them. So Dave Giesel's not going to be part of Name That Player. That's okay. Because it's Dave Giesel. So hopefully you know your 84 Donruss. We're probably going to have to give some clues because these are, actually there's a few in here. It's actually a nice mix. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough game to Name That Player. Who's going to catch up to Shane? Does Shane know his 84 Donruss? Does Uncle Rich know his 84 Donruss? Does Max know his 84 Donruss? Shane's in first place at 39 points. Uncle Rich, second, 30. Max, third, 26. Oh, that dude from Duryea making a run. 21 points. All right, here we go, 84 Donruss. This is probably the tough one. And you do have to spell the last name correctly. I'll give you a hint. Get out of the 80s. It's not Bonilla. It's not Bochy. No, it's a very difficult name to spell, and it's not a it's about as common as they get. Not by last name. The last name is about as uncommon as you can get. It's a Padre. His first name's Doug, and his last name starts with a G. I'm probably gonna have to spell this one out for you. Nobody's gonna get this. All right, Uncle Rich is close. You have to spell it correctly to get the point. Ooh, Jeff Wilson, close. We'll give Zach a half point. Guaz. It's Guaz. I don't think anybody spelled it correctly yet. Oh, wait, Peter might have. Hold on. Gwosdz. All right. So it's Doug Guadis. Doug Guadis. All right. So who spelled it correctly first? All right. So Rich first had the name incorrectly spelled. He did it twice. Max missed GWO. Oh, had this, not Krzyzewski. Oh, I think Shane might have got it. GWOSDZ. Shane with the point. Sorry, Doug, you're going in the trash. We're throwing away cards today. All right, Shane with the point. He is now at 40. Shane could win today. I think we have 11 cards left. Shane is at 40. All right. How many people cheated? I bet everybody that had GWO cheated. All right. Next up, this is a little easier. Red Light says, fuck no, don't throw that away. It is 84 Donruss. They are a little better than 88 Donruss. ET Card Collector says, I couldn't have gotten that if you had spotted me the first 4 letters. Me neither. You could have spotted me the entire last name, and I'm like, I don't know who that is. Let's see. Max says, was my correct one right below Shane? Yes. Yes, it was. This is not Ted Simmons. It's not Tommy Herr. It's not Ken Oberkfell. It's not Kent Herbeck. I think this guy played throughout the 80s. He debuted, I think, in 1981. He was a catcher, obviously, for the Cardinals. It is not Darrell Porter. It is not Blummer. One of those is close, though. It's not Soapy Klein. It's not Duncan. It's Brummer. Max gets it. Max gets it. Shane with the assist. Glenn Brummer. All right, next up. Oh, we got to get Max a point. Max catching Rich in second. All right, next up. Oh, John, it was not John Keating. Close. All right, San Francisco Giants. Pitcher. I'm predicting a name that's going to be guessed first, which is incorrect. I want to see if it comes up. San Francisco Giants pitcher. I want to see if the name I'm thinking, because I would say it's this guy. Yep, and it was. Bronco. It's not Dave Dravecki. That's who I would have guessed. I'm like, somebody's going to guess Dave Dravecki. It is not Dave Dravecki. It's not Mike Krukow. It's not Atlee Hammaker. It's not Mike Lacoste. It's not Craig Lefferts. It's not Clark. A lot of people guessed Dravecki. Yeah, not Dravecki. It is Gary Lavelle. Max. 2 points on the 80s. What is going on, Max? He must have the checklist next to him. Max with the point. He wasn't even born yet. Max at 28 points. All right, next up, we're going to go north of the border to Toronto. Gary Lavelle. All right. This dude looks like a beer league softball player. Like, he's half lit. He's been at Denny's Tap. He's had 8 Busch Lights. It's like, hey, dude, you got to come. He's even got a name that kind of matches this face. Toronto Blue Jays. Not DuPont. Last name, kind of a common last. Doyle Alexander. He looks like a Doyle, doesn't he? Doyle, put that Busch Light down. It's headshot day. Doyle Alexander. Rich. All right, Uncle Rich at 31. So we got Shane at 40, Rich at 31, Max at 28. That dude from Duryea, he's respectable 21. All right, next up, we got the Cincinnati Reds. Yeah, Doyle Alexander traded for John Smoltz. A few years later. What year was that? 88, 89? Cincinnati Reds. A little clue, the C represents his first name and his last name. That is correct. Uncle Rich, the first one to get Caesar Cedeno. Caesar. And Uncle Rich with another point. Zach says De La Cruz. He was the 1984 Ellie De La Cruz. Probably not. Let's see. 232 batting average, 9 home runs, 13 steals. No. He was not the Ellie De La Cruz of 1984. All right. Next up. All right, this is probably going to be the easiest. Well, actually there's three. There's three easier ones. You can put them in the miscreant list. Google Caesar Cedeno. So this is going to be one of 3 easier ones of this 1984 Donruss stack. New York Yankees pitcher. Ron Guidry is correct. Uncle Rich with the fastest fingers. Peter came in second. Max came in third. Unicorn wants us to invite Jeff Wilson. We should just do all Jeff Wilson talk tomorrow. Oh, no show tomorrow. Janesville Card Show tomorrow. The Jeff Wilson Bash Hour. I hate Jeff Wilson. All right, Uncle Rich with 33 points. Next up, we got the Phillies. Peter says, who is Jeff Wilson? I don't know if that's a joke or not. All right, Philadelphia Phillies pitcher. It is not Von Hayes. It's not Steve Carlton. It is not Barry Lersch, or Barry Lersch. Was that his first name, Lersch? It is Reed. Shane gets it just ahead of Uncle Rich. Ron Reed. Ron Reed going to Shane. Shane extends his lead. 41 for Shane. Harry Chesterton. All right, here's our second of 3 easier ones. I only need last name. We don't need anything else. Just the last name. Griffey. That's all I need. I was going to say I don't need senior or junior. Not that would have given away. You know who it is. It's Ken Griffey. Ken Griffey. First one to get this one was Uncle Rich. Just beat out Shane. Dat dude came in third. 34 for Uncle Rich. All right, we got 3 left. We got New York Mets up next. All right. So I think there's going to be an incorrect guess of a player on this one. Let's see. Yeah, that's why I said just the last name. I don't need anything else. Just wanted Griffey. Title City Sports. Mike, what's up? It is not Darryl Strawberry. That's not who I thought people would confuse it for. Not Jesse Orozco, although that is good. Ron Darling, Bronco. Me and Bronco and I, that's 2 for 2. It's almost like Bronco. Who do I think this is? That's 2 for 2. Bronco, Dave Dravecki and Ron Darling. I bet people think this is Ron Darling. All right, so this is not Ron Darling. It's not Jesse Orozco. It's not Danny Heap. It's not Roger McDowell. It's not Darryl Strawberry. It's not Brooks. It's not George Kenneth Griffey Sr. It is Mike Fitzgerald. Uncle Rich with the point. Mike Fitzgerald. Uncle Rich moving on up. Uncle Rich closing in on Shane. 41-35 at the top. Ooh, too many clicks. There we go. Oh, Danny Heap was a good guess, too. All right, next up, we got the Detroit Tigers. Rock Latex says that looks nothing like Darling. I mean, it looks similar to Darling to me. Detroit Tigers. Not Chet Lemon. Herndon is correct. Larry Herndon. Shane with the correct answer. Shane now at 42. We got one last one. This is the last of the easy ones. Last card and also an easy one. All right, Cleveland Indians. It is not halftime. Who's this guy? Julio Franco. Shane beats out Rich. Julio Franco. And the winner is Shane. So Shane with 43 points. Uncle Rich to 35. Max at 28. Dat Dude from Duryea at 21. Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood. Oh, is that why you said halftime? That's my halftime back in 5 minutes when I go stretch, stand up during eBay Live. Speaking of eBay Live, I'm going to try to sneak one in this afternoon, 1 o'clock. A light day on eBay Live. I think there's only 10 streams today, so I'm going to sneak one in this afternoon. We're going to do a bargain box blitz this afternoon. You can't call them the Indians. So 1 o'clock this afternoon, we'll do a bargain box blitz, dollar starting bids, 5-second sudden death auctions today. I'm going to be at the Janesville Card Show tomorrow. Come out and see me. I'll be right inside the door as you walk in. I'll have bargain boxes, blowing them out 10 cents per card, $25 per 4-row box. So you won't want to miss that. Come out and see me in Janesville tomorrow. I'll be buying some inventory as well. So I'll have new stuff. I'll probably take Saturday night off and come back on Sunday. And I may do 2 shows on Sunday. Sunday afternoon, Sunday night with the inventory I pick up in Janesville. So there you go. So no Hobby Evolution tomorrow. We'll come back on Sunday morning, review the Janesville show, talk about the pickups and all that good stuff. So tune in this afternoon, eBay Live, 1 o'clock, bargain box blitz. Let's see. Zach says, so transparent and so attractive, inflicted. Unicorn says, not to sound racist, but they did a shit job guarding. Zach says, okay, and later today, you can find all these cards on eBay Live. There you go. 84 Donruss, Julio Franco coming up on the bargain box blitz. All right. Have a wonderful day. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. And if I don't see you on eBay Live, I'll see you at Janesville tomorrow. If I don't see you in Janesville tomorrow, I'll see you back here on Sunday morning for Hobby Evolution. See you then.